Good evening, guys. It's Phil. It's All Leeds TV, and we are back with 3 points from London in a league game, and that feels good. That was a bit unexpected. I had a great weekend. It was lovely, and I'm really excited tonight to be joined by the one and only Martin Riley, Reverend Martin from Statsville, as he's more famously known. And then obviously Mike, who likes to call himself Mike Football Talk. Never really understood why, but I like to call him the Crumble Man. How are we doing, guys? Happy to be here.
It's good to be. I'll change it though for next time.
Martin, how are you doing tonight, mate?
Cracking. Very, very good result. Overjoyed to getting those 3 points. Was not expecting it at all, and especially with how badly hit we are with injuries at the moment. 3 points in the capital against a club who's challenging for Champions League. You can't really be happier than that for a weekend.
Mike, did you have a good day yesterday? Mike? Are you
yes, I thought I did say we'd win, but I was very optimistic.
Yeah.
But
did you enjoy the performance?
Yeah, definitely one of the best of the season, I thought.
Are you with us? Like, are you all right, pal? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Just checking. It's all right. I'll ask you some more detailed questions.
You can't answer that for a bit.
So for me, I'm going to go in there and say, look, I think yesterday draws a bit of a line in the sand for me as to we've had the first half of the season now. Look, we've spoken all the way through it about, are we in a relegation battle? It's been hard. It's been difficult. It's been pressure at different times. But I think hopefully we have now drawn a line under it with that result. And fingers crossed, welcome to the second half of the season. We've started 2021 unbeaten, two wins, 6 points, going into Newcastle at home, 9 points clear of the relegation zone. And the talk of pressure on Bielsa seems way away now. The general output just feels so much happier today than it did a week or two ago. So, Martin, looking at the table and obviously looking at the start to 2022, do you feel like that line, like I've just said, that metaphorical line, that relegation battle is gone now, it's behind us? I don't want to hear the word relegation anymore. Mike's going to come on in a minute and tell me about Europe, but I'll let Martin sort of start with something a bit more like maybe realistic.
Well, personally, the relegation issue for me when we beat Burnley. That's my opinion. These points were always going to be bonus points. It's a nice extra cushion that we've got now since we beat West Ham on top of the Burnley result. But I consider the Burnley one to be more important because it directly takes points off a rival for relegation, and that, like they see metaphorical 6-pointer, it was massively important. But yeah, the cushion between us and the bottom 3 now is very big. It would take them going on a 4-5 unbeaten run where they win every game to get ahead of us with us also losing that
and
many.
This is a load of teams that haven't won that many games collectively.
Exactly. I think Burnley are on 11 points for the season so far.
Yeah.
I know they do have. I think they're about to get another match postponed, aren't they?
They've got basically the entire season in hand.
Yeah, they've got 5 games in hand over some clubs now, and they are going to really struggle to play these games to catch up to them because they've already got a pretty small squad as it is.
Yeah.
So I know not as small as ours.
Yeah.
Who does? But they will struggle to do these games without getting more players injured, and it's going to pretty much seal their relegation, in my opinion. That they're a bit daft to get this game against Watford rescheduled.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. I'd agree with Chris's comment, to be honest. I mean, you never want to be too cocky and you never want to feel like you're safe, but, you know, it doesn't feel like the 6-pointer it felt like a few weeks ago going into this game at the weekend now against Newcastle. But if we do beat Newcastle and obviously keep a clean sheet ideally as well, which would be nice. It'd be hard to argue that it's not over and done with. We are safe. Looking up the table rather than behind, it's a real game changer. Mike, are you feeling so much more positive after that? And it's, again, obviously not just result, the performance as well. Like, West Ham are a good team.
Yeah, the performance as a whole was so much better than it has been recently anyway, especially at the start of the season as well. It helps the teams below us or around us are dropping points as well. So even Everton and Brentford dropping points, that then puts them into it and us more clear of them.
Yeah. Obviously, we've now moved above Everton, who have sacked Benitez, which has been long overdue, in my opinion. Not Benitez's fault. I just think it's the wrong appointment completely, but I think that's a conversation for another day. We do have a game in hand on Brentford, who are immediately above us, who are having a fantastic season, apparently. A point ahead of us. So, and even then, Steven Gerrard's Aston Villa, who are fantastic as well. We've got a game in hand on them, and if we win that game in hand, we move above both of them. So it really
and we've got them as well in 2 games.
Yeah, exactly. In the space of a week, we have genuinely changed the way I look at this table now. Like, just because I know you want to, Mike. Where do you think we can finish now in the rest of this season, mate? Go on, say that word.
Mid-table. I'm not going to say Europe, but mid-table.
Go on.
Fine, we'll make Europe. Are you happy now? We're going to get Europe.
He was forced into it.
Someone clip him up quick.
He was forced into it.
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody other than just Joe Channel. If you're watching, you're probably not, because. But if you were Joe, you probably do think we're going on a European tour still. We like that about you. We like your optimism. But mid-table is fine. We will take mid-table. There is nothing wrong with mid-table. Chris obviously saying start of the season went 10th to 13th. I think I went anywhere from 7th to 12th. I think I then revisited that and said lower. But yeah, anywhere between, I'd say 10th and 12th, I'd be very happy with. It's not a problem. End of the day, look, if we've managed to finish higher than 9th, I'd be extremely surprised. I don't think we'll build on last season, but look, a few weeks ago, we weren't talking about 9th, or we weren't talking about Europe. We were talking about 17th. Like, it doesn't feel like 17th. I mean, yeah, Scott, as always, 17th and staying in the division. I will be happy. I think everybody will be, but I think we can afford now with the last 2 results and hopefully, not getting complacent. We've still got some big games, but you look at the rest of the season and fancy us to take. Look, they did at the end of match of the day 2 last night, like the lowest points tallies of getting relegated and stuff, like 35 and 34 to stay up. You can't see us not getting to 35, 34 points. Now, I think for us, the idea of getting to 40 points as soon as possible is back on. Well, what do you think, Martin? What do you think a realistic points total could be now?
Well, we've got, just less than half season left to go. I think between 35 and 40 is a realistic number that we should aim towards, which would put us around the, I think, probably between 14th and 10th mark, depending on how teams above us do. We could get more than that, because there's still, there's like 18, 36, like 50 points left to get, if my maths is correct. I don't think it is, but whatever. But yeah, so there's lots of points left to play for. We don't need to finish higher than 10th, because we can't challenge for Europe now. In my opinion, it's too far gone. And
there's 54 points left to play for.
So there's plenty of points left to play for, and we can easily between 10th and 12th, or even 14th, 15th, 16th is fine. Staying in the division is the paramount importance. Couple of places extra for that little bit of bonus prize money would be nice, of course. Help us get some more players in next season.
Yeah, as Chris has just said, it'll be a low points tally to stay up this season. And look, I don't expect us to take our foot off the gas towards the end of the season like some people will. You don't really get that on the beach vibe with Bielsa, and at the same time, the whole burnout. Look, it's going off our last 3 seasons. It seems to affect other teams more than us. As Scott says, realistically, I can't see us now not finishing above the likes of Aston Villa. Even I know they've made some good signings, but and Brentford, these are teams I think that we can obviously go and finish above again. Now, I think, look, we're not going to finish above anyone like West Ham, but like Logan's just said, let it sink in. We've just beaten a really good team. This season in particular, that hasn't happened very often. We have struggled really, really badly against teams in that top half so far this season. The only team we really gave a performance against, I'd say, was probably Leicester. Other than that, we've been sort of fishing around in the doldrums for anything that we could get for points. So it's the first, that's where I say, like, I draw a line in the sand, not just results-wise, but performance-wise. It's the first time we've really gone to the home of a big team. We've put a performance on and we've come away with 3 points. I know it's only our second away win of the season. The other one was Norwich, so it's not really like there's a lot to compare to there. But performance-wise, especially with the level of depletion in this squad, and everyone's seen the stat over the weekend about Bielsa giving now 8 debuts to under-23s players this season, the highest of any manager in the division. Brings that back to the Cody drama thing that we were talking about the other day. And yeah, Mike, for where we are as a squad, and like Paul the other day was saying, and obviously like Michael Richards said, to say we've got to this points tally now with the amount of injuries we've had so far this season, you think when we get the players back fit, that we can get back fit and have a fully fit squad, there's no reason why we can't start looking up the table and feeling a little bit more optimistic about everything.
Yeah, I think some of the games we have been lucky with like draws and stuff, and performance-wise, especially the last 2 seasons, we've been better in the second half than we have the first half of the season. So if we carry on this season, we are just going to go up the table, and we're not going to look behind us. And I don't see us, even if we drop points, like get a draw or lose, we're not going to be brought back into that relegation fight.
Yeah, I know, Scott. I'm going to go back up and find the comment just so we can flash it up and everyone can see. But obviously, how many teams now do you think are in that? Do you think there's a bottom 4, bottom 5? Scott's talking about Everton being dragged into that relegation battle. Everton have never been relegated in the history of fucking football, mate. So I know nobody's too big to go down, but I think that bottom, for me, the ones cut adrift are Burnley and then Norwich, and then I think Watford go. I think Newcastle scrape it. But is there a bottom 4, bottom 5? Are we out of that now?
I do think that even Brentford could get sucked into it, because I don't see them winning that many games to stay up. Right, or they will be dragged into it. They might have enough to stay up, but and then with Everton, it depends on who they bring in as their manager, and if it will happen
to the end of the season. Give it a big dunk.
So it probably realistically is 4 or 5 teams that are in it.
Chris has just thought, Phil talking about a fully fit squad. What it?
We did one for like one day.
Yeah, Chris has gone same bottom 3 as myself, Burnley, Watford and Norwich. I know a lot of people, we've spoken in our group chat about Newcastle. A lot of people think Newcastle, they can spend the money, but they're still going down. I feel like they've got a game changer in St-Maximin that can rescue them something. Now that Burnley have sold Chris Wood, I know people will say, well, they've got Maxwell Cornet, but there's nothing to back that up. There is absolutely nothing in that squad. Burnley looks so uninspiring. And I think with Burnley, I kind of just expect them to sack Sean Dyche. And when they do that, it's over, mate, because no one's saving them if it isn't Sean Dyche. And then obviously Watford. I watched that Watford-Newcastle game the other day, and Jesus Christ, even like when they were at Ellen Road, I know that wasn't under Ranieri, but we beat them 1-0, and every fucking pass, they can't pass to each other, man. they can only pass to the crowd. And it's genuinely depressing to watch as a football fan for another team. Like, you are shit. Watford are terrible. I mean, Newcastle, agreed, aren't much better, but they are bringing stuff in, and I can see them building. Martin, what do you think to this one, mate? I know that's a popular shout, but the other names mentioned, Frank Lampard.
I can't see it being Rooney. He is, fair play to him, doing a good job with Derby. They have been winning quite a lot of games recently, and he has got a chance of escaping out of that bottom three and not getting them relegated. No, I think he does. If you look at the results, honestly, compared to the other ones, he's got a good chance for it. We'll see.
It'd be horrible if they stayed up.
It won't be Rooney. Who's being linked at the moment? The Belgium manager. Martinez is being linked, so I think it'll be someone like that. I don't think Everton will go for Rooney. I don't think he's got that in him, but we'll see. I don't really care at Everton, to be honest. But I don't think they'll go down. I think it will be the 4 clubs who are currently in the bottom 4 who will be fighting that out. I don't think any other team will get sucked into that. I think it'll just be those 4. And I do think that Newcastle will just scrape it. They're probably going to bring in another 50-60 million worth of players back before the end of the window. So they will bring in some more quality to complement what they've already got. They've replaced the right back, they've replaced the left back, they've replaced one of the strikers. So all I need to bring is another couple more players, and they'll have enough quality to see out the division.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to yesterday then, and we'll obviously start with the player ratings. I know I don't want to spoiler alert it, but has anyone gone lower than a 6 for anybody? No? No? Good. That's a good start. Has anyone gone higher than an 8.5? I'm going to go to 8.5 for anybody. Oh, has anyone gone higher than a 9 for anybody? Has anyone gone higher than a 9.5 for anybody? Oh, we got some 10s. Fucking hell, I'm going to have to readjust here. I'd set my stall out at 8.5 max, but okay. I'm intrigued. We'll start, obviously, in goal. We'll start with Illan Meslier. I'll come to Mike first. Mike, what did you make of Meslier yesterday?
Solid. Like, he came to the ball a couple of times. Distribution was all right. One of the goals he probably could have done a little bit better with.
Yeah.
But overall, it was like a solid performance.
Yeah. As usual, guys, if you're watching, please do get your comments in with your numbers. Paul, lovely to see you joining us. And obviously, we have got your numbers here ready to give out. But if you're in the comments, mate, you flash them up and I'll flash them out. It's going to be good to get your thoughts as well. So you've gone.
I've gone for a 7.
A 7. Martin, what did you think, mate?
For Meslier, he had a good game. He made a couple of good saves, including that double save just before they had their goal disallowed. His distribution was reasonably good, especially for short to medium passes. He didn't misplace a single pass in that region. 29 out of 29 passes completed. Longer passes, he was a little bit sketchier, but they always are when they're longer. He gave him got a 7 from me as well.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think I'm going to have to bump up a little bit here, but I went 6.5, but I'll bump up to a 7 as if Oscar's here prodding me with a stick, making me. I just thought it was. There wasn't anything crazily. There was one bit, obviously, their disallowed goal, which obviously ends up going in anyway. But he makes a fantastic second save there. I think the double save aspect, the first save, I think he can push further away. But the second save is ridiculous, and obviously it's a shame it doesn't count because it's offside. But they would obviously statistically make him look a lot better as well. But generally speaking, really good. I can remember one time where Declan Rice is obviously running out towards the left-hand side byline, and he just sort of shepherds him out. I
remember that well, yeah.
And obviously, was it Leicester or Newcastle? We played someone where he did something similar and it ended up in them scoring. And we all, I think it was actually West Ham the first time, and we all just sort of criticised, he's gone too far out and he's left an open net. Who was it? Was it West Ham?
Yeah, it was. It was their second goal when they were on the break when we threw everyone forward, and he went really far wide.
No, I'm thinking of another time where he's come out towards the edge of his 6-yard box and just sort of shepherded out, but then it's come back in and he's not in his net, and we all kind of sort of gave him pelters for not being in the right position. I can't remember what game it was. It was a few games ago, but it was very similar situation. This time, obviously, it's a different result, and he's just done exactly the right thing. Stood him up and sent him out wide and shown him on his weaker foot. And it's one. There we go. Paul, see, just fucking come on, Paul. We need you, mate. It was Arsenal. So, yeah, generally speaking, solid performance though, really good. Well, we've got a mixture of 7s and 7.5. Well, do you want to be really generous and just bump him up to a 7.5 collectively, or are we all happy on 7?
I'm fine with 7.
I'm fine with 7.
7. All right, fine. You know. Jeez.
You said 6.5 to start with.
Oh no, I just thought I was good. We thought we collectively might be nice, but fucking tough crowd. So we'll start at right back. We normally start on the right. I don't know why last week I decided to go on the left. That's more information than we needed, Paul. So
I personally want more information than that.
Yeah, just don't drop the phone, whatever you do. Logan is insisting that we rate the crumble. The crumble's an 8. We can confirm, I've already quizzed him. He hasn't got a crumble tonight, the selfish man. But what have you got? Some sort of little cakes or something, did you say?
Yeah, cinnamon buns.
See, you're going to be Leeds fan famous for just having fucking snacks. So, yeah. Anyway, back to the right back and Luke Ayling. I know. Has anyone else heard?
I have to stop you there. I have to stop you that Ayling didn't play right back. Dallas did.
Right, okay, but on the original team sheet. Yeah. Anyway, so Luke Ayling. We're going Ayling. I'll come back round to Dallas eventually. Luke Ayling, I've seen a lot of people saying that he was bad. And I heard, did the Times or the Telegraph gave him a 4?
I think the 4 was harsh. I mean,
Really?
He had a mixed bag, in my opinion. I'll let you finish what you're saying, though, Phil, before I go.
No, I was gonna come to you guys. I'll do Mike in the order as we've started, but Mike, 4 seems ridiculously harsh.
Yeah, I thought he was all right. He played some good balls, did some good defending, good tackling at the back. Some of his passes were a bit wayward, but overall, I thought he was all right. I've given him a 7.5.
I'm not going to lie. I did the same, mate. But Martin, do you want to make me change my mind last minute?
Again, like Chris said in the comments, it's a mixed bag. He did some very good stuff and also some bad stuff. Especially he gave away a ball a couple of times, and one of those balls led to them scoring their first goal. Not their first goal, sorry, their second goal.
Yeah,
the second goal. So, and he'd done the exact same thing like 30 seconds before that, so it really stood out. And he was taking over Lorente's position of playing those really bad speculative balls at times. Yeah, and I did notice it a lot. But
the first goal comes from one.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I was about to say. He did do a lot of good things as well as the bad. His ball carrying especially was very good. He actually completed the most take-ons for us. That's more than Rafinha. He had three take-ons, and he had 100. He had 100% success rate with his take-ons. Yeah. He also carried the ball out the most yards for us with 188 progressive yards carried. Yeah. But like I mentioned, his passing was sloppy. He only completed 71% of his passes, but he did get an assist for the set piece goal, the Jack Harrison's fired-in goal. So real mixed bag.
This is where I fall on the wrong side of a sword. I was going last week or the week before. I was saying bumping up people's ratings just for an assist, are we? But probably I'm going to.
No, it's just the assist didn't really bear much impact to me. He got a 6.5 from me. If anything, I lowered it because of the bad passing. It was going to be around about a 7, but the giving away the ball away multiple times dropped it down a little bit for me.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, I don't have a problem with 6.5, or even people in the chat saying 6. But 4 just seems mental. Like, I don't think anybody deserves a 4. Even like your Firpos and your Adam Forshaw, who are on the pitch for like 10 minutes, like they don't deserve a 4. For me, Luke Ayling, and I always bring it back to the thing that makes me think Luke Ayling is good, is when he does his progressive carries and he just basically does the Ben White thing of just strolling through midfield. And I thought yesterday that was as good as I've seen him do that all season, to be honest. I think he's really starting to look like the Luke Ayling of old, whether he's at right back or right centre back. And obviously those positions I felt weren't the same from the start as they were 10 minutes later. I do think we started with him at right back. And then from kickoff, for me, Robin Koch was at centre back. And then within a few minutes, it was clear that changed quite quickly. But for me, I thought at both positions, he was just strolling up the field. I thought the passing, not so much short, because obviously it wasn't great. Short and mid passing clearly was a problem, but the long balls, they didn't seem to be long speculative balls. There was 2 or 3 times the link up between him and Rafinha seemed to be really effective. And obviously Rafinha was a big part in the goal that was disallowed as well. When I actually watched the game back on Match of the Day 2 last night, I actually came away thinking, you know what? It could have been more than 4-2. And I felt a fair reflection of the game would have been 4-2, not 3-2. But when you look at the chances we had, could easily have been more than 4. We could have scored 5 or 6. I know the XG was apparently 2-2, but I felt we created the more chances and the far better chances. And I thought Ayling had a really big part to play in that. So I went 7.5 like Mike. I'm happy to come down to a 7 and meet in the middle, but I just think criticism of the performance. I get the passing and obviously, like you said, Martin, with it being twice in a minute or two, and it did lead to a goal. I can understand, and maybe could do better with Antonio, but we'll get on to someone that absolutely handled Antonio very shortly. We'll move on to. I'm going to move into. Right, I'll do Dallas now, and we'll pretend we'll go with Koch as the CDM. We'll do him then. So Dallas, what did you make of Stewie Dallas yesterday? I'll go Martin first.
Dallas had a great game. He, especially defensively, he had a really strong game. He just really made them work very hard for any space on the side that he was playing on. He was very good out of possession, and he had the most tackles won on the pitch with 4 tackles won, but he also had 8 total tackles, so that he was just putting a foot in every single chance he got. He also had 6 interceptions, which was the joint most, along with, I think, Aaron Cresswell got the same as that, but definitely the most for us. And he also wasn't dribbled past a single time, which recently that has been one of the things that Dallas has struggled with. Yeah. He struggled to letting players run past him, but he did a much better job at that. So that improved things for me. In possession, he wasn't always great. He did some loose balls, but nothing bad came from those loose balls, and he was trying his best to progress the ball further up the field whenever he got the chance. Yeah. For me, he gets a 7.5.
Okay, and Mike?
Wasn't he... Didn't his pass lead to West Ham's first goal?
Well, it was a header from a corner. But it was just he's marking Jared Bowen, so I marked him down big time. To be honest, I think I didn't
think that he had.
In particular, I thought he was weak.
Yeah, I didn't think he had that great a game that everyone's raving about.
Yeah,
see, Bowen's like a midget, tiny, and he's letting him run off him, getting a header.
Yeah. And
then the second goal, I know that his passing or something wasn't that great. I didn't think he had an overall great game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm going to go to what Chris has said. Sorry, Mike, give me your number first before I do it.
I've given a 7.
Right, okay. I'm going very much along the lines of what Chris has said, to be fair. And as Scott's now just said, decent second half. For me, the first half wasn't great. Like Mike said, for me, he's basically solely responsible for that first goal, in my opinion. You can't be losing your marker when your marker is even shorter than you are if you're Stuart Dallas's size. I just kind of thought And it wasn't once or twice either. Generally from corners, it was Dallas that was getting out jumped, and it was something that I remarked to Tash and Ellie and Jack when we were watching the game, maybe 3 or 4 times in that first half. I 100% second half, I thought back much improved. And as Chris said on the post match last night, just for pure effort and everything like that, it's always Stuart Dallas covering every blade of grass. So it's hard to ever go lower than maybe a 7. But I did give him a 6.5. Again, happy to meet in the middle, maybe go 7. But I didn't think defensively it was his best performance. But what did we think then of? I'll let Martin go on Pascal Strike because I feel like this one's going to be Martin talking for about half an hour. So me and Michael just go pop a crumble in. Martin, go on. You tell everyone about Pascal Strike.
Well, yeah, he was just great. I loved his performance so much. And if you saw my meme that I put up on the All Leeds TV account of Van Dijk staring lovingly into Pascal's face, yeah, that's the sort of level of performance that he made. He was just dominant in everything that he was doing. He was tasked with marking one of the strongest and fastest players in the league, in Antonio, and he did a very, very good job with that. He recovered the ball 13 times, which was the joint most ball recoveries for us. He won 4 out of the 7 aerial duels that he had. So Antonio did win some of them, but he's going to win some of them because he's a physical player like Strauch is. He was just so good. Had lots of tackles, 8 tackles and interceptions combined. His passing was one of the best in the side. Overall, we didn't have very high pass completions, but his was 79%, which was the 3rd highest. So he kept his passing nice and simple, kept hold of the ball whenever he had it. It was a very classy performance from him, and he showed what we have been missing while he's been out of the side. He's just come back from injury. He just had a great game. Yeah, I can't really say more than that. Just how good of a game that he had. He got an 8 from me.
All right, okay, I thought that was going to be your 10, but I suppose we all know where that's going then. You caught me off guard, right? That was only 2 minutes. That wasn't bad. You did well there. Mike, what have you gone for Pascal?
I've gone for an 8.5. I thought he was.
I love these 0.5s rolling off like it's a fucking normality now. It's fucking brilliant.
I thought he was the best centre back. Probably the best centre back performance we've had all season from any individual player. How he dealt with Antonio as well. And obviously, we all know what he's like, one of the most dangerous forwards in the league on his day anyway. I just thought that he was incredible.
Got some 10s coming in for Pascal. Yeah, I must admit, obviously, we joked last week about Diego Lorente, who was obviously suspended, which is why he didn't play. It's not like he was out of favour or anything like that. Thank God he was suspended. Because obviously last week, Diego Lorente spent 90 minutes forgetting that it was football and trying to get a piggyback off Mikel Antonio for some reason. I didn't see any piggybacking going on from Pascal, which was really fucking refreshing. And as you said, Mike, he's a big fucking physical presence, is Antonio. We're watching the game, and I think Ellie said something like his shoulders are so intimidating. And obviously, you know what Jack's like. Jack, you expect to just sort of immediately hate anyone that wears a shirt that isn't a Leeds shirt. But Jack, to be fair, was just like, no, I really like Mikel Antonio. Like, I'd love to have a player like that at Leeds. Massive physical presence, proper old-fashioned number 9. And Jack was raving about him, but to be fair, Pascal pocketed him. It was really good to see, and Chris has obviously been saying this in our group chat and clearly believes it. Martin, I think you do too. Better than Virgil van Dijk at that age. To be fair, I don't think there was much hype around Van Dijk at that age, and there is more obviously exposure, I'd say, for Pascal Strike and the position that he is at this age. Like, Van Dijk wasn't even at Celtic at this age, was he? I'm not sure, but
I can look for you, but I'm not sure, to be honest.
It's neither here nor there, but realistically, the exposure that Pascal's getting playing this many games over the last 2 seasons in the Premier League and obviously when Van Dijk's that age, the exposure of being on telly week in, week out at Celtic compared to the numbers that are watching Pascal around the world, I'd say the exposure for Pascal's higher. But, Scott, as a Rangers fan, might disagree with me. He might think that Celtic and Rangers probably still do get more views than a Leeds game. I don't know. But I think quality-wise, I'm not going to throw out the better than anybody comparison, but I think whoever is going to take him, whether it's Belgium or Holland or the Netherlands, as they are called these days, are very, very lucky to have a ridiculously talented young centre-half on their hands. And we are, for me, sign that fucking contract now and give him like a £200 million release clause. Get him signed up. So a couple of people going man of the match for Pascal there. You two guys, I assume, we're all probably saving it for the same person. We must be, surely. Martin, I just can't read you right now. You're poker facing me really well. Junior 𝐾𝐿, I know he was only on for, what was it, like 21, 22 minutes. What did you make of Junior?
23 minutes.
What?
It's 23 minutes he was on for.
What? Sorry. Go on then, Mr. Ard. I know the exact minutes. Go on, you give me a fucking rating, Crumble man.
I thought he did all right until he went off. Some good tackles, good passing. He linked up well with Jack. I've given him a 7. Obviously, it's hard to say the amount of times he played, but you can't really give him any lower.
Okay, Martin. Have you then immediately going to go and give him something lower?
No. 𝐾𝐿 did good when he was on the pitch. He had a very high pass completion in the short amount of time that he was on the pitch. He only misplaced one pass in that time. So it's like something like 92% success rate, I believe, which was the second highest in the team, I think. And he was good when he was on the pitch, and I wish that he hadn't come off. But he did, unfortunately. He has 7 because of the time when he was on the pitch. He didn't do anything wrong. I don't want to mark him lower than that for not doing anything wrong, essentially. So,
I can agree. I've just gone a bit lower just based on the fact he did only play 20 minutes. But I haven't got a problem with how he played. I'll give him 6.5. But yeah, I thought him and Jack Harrison at the start of the game looked like they were linking up really well. And obviously, I've criticised Jack Harrison in recent weeks for for being the bit where that fell apart between the three of them, him, Click, and 𝐾𝐿. And I actually thought they were, from the start, linking up really well together yesterday. So it was a shame he went off. I must admit, around the substitution, that madness of they're both clearly injured, just take them off at the same time. That drove me a bit nuts, but obviously that's not 𝐾𝐿's fault. But yeah, we'll move straight on to the CDM, and then obviously Robin Koch. We've been individually and possibly collectively, Martin, maybe less so. We won't hang you out to dry, but I'll hang myself out to dry. I will hang Oscar out to dry. I will hang Mike out to dry. Probably Chris as well. Probably Scott. The vast majority of this channel have all said, please don't play Robin Koch at CDM. Martin, I don't think I can recall you saying that, but correct me if I'm wrong. And if you are not going to, feel free to be incredibly smug and tell me he was good.
Well, I've never said that he shouldn't play at CDM. I haven't seen him have a really bad game there. He had the one game, I think it was against Man United, where he didn't play that great. But that's just one game, and against Man United, not many of our players played that well. So it's harsh to cut him out to dry for that. He's played quite extensively as a CDM and even a central midfielder in his time before us in the Bundesliga.
Germany.
Yeah, and with Germany. So he has experience in that role. It's not like he's purely a centre-back. We brought him in because he can give cover to that area. He's a similar profile to Kalvin Phillips in that his best attribute is his tackling. And that is why he's good there. And he had a good game yesterday, especially defensively. He had a lot of good things. He, again, joint most ball recoveries with, I think it was Strauch. So he recovered the ball a lot of times for us. He was dominant aerially, won 3 out of the 4 aerial duels that he had. He even made 3 shot creating actions and completed 1 take on, which I think he was fouled in that take on as well. It was a very, very nice move from him for a big lad. And some loose passing at times, which dropped his mark a little bit lower than what I would have given him normally. He gets a 7 from me.
That's brilliant. I'll get rid of that before it gets me in trouble. I enjoyed that. I went 7, not because I didn't think he was great. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. I just think, again, as usual, I'm a little bit more mean and don't go willy-nilly going high on. But maybe I can bump it up 0.5. I'll go up to 7.5 to match up with everybody else. He was much improved in that position, and I do disagree. I do think at times he has looked like a liability in that position at times in different games, but not yesterday. I'd struggled to pin any of the goals on him, to be honest. Refreshing to see him do so well. And don't think we'll stay on that much longer. We'll move on to...
I gave him a 7.5, by the way.
Yeah,
I didn't care, Mike. I didn't care, mate. Go on, then. Go on, if you're so fucking desperate to tell us, Mike, you tell us.
I gave 𝐘𝐿 7.5.
Do you want to tell us any more about him, or you just want to get
his tackling was good. Obviously, he shows that he's got good hard tackle on him. One way he got the yellow card. I thought that was a decent leg biting challenge.
Yeah.
Just decent player.
We all like it when Koch goes in hard.
Yes. One thing on Robin Koch, and I know because we're doing player ratings, we might not get onto it unless I put it in here. The tackle that was on him in the fucking first place by Antonio, if that is a yellow card, why is Robin Koch's challenge on Antonio the other way around a yellow card? Because for me, they're very different levels of yellow card. I think Antonio's is red. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I thought it was.
I think it's kind of in that middle ground, the orange card territory. If
Liam Cooper does it, what card is it?
Oh, that's a double red card if Liam Cooper does it. It's like he gets 2, and he's suspended for 10 games if it's Liam Cooper.
That's what I mean.
It
was infuriating, that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry about that, Mike. I am just a little bit away with the fairies, and you are Southern, so that it's hard to forget. And your name's not there today. I don't know why your name's disappeared. So's mine. It must be a Scott thing. We'll move on to the right wing. Martin, before I say the wrong name, tell me who was at right wing. Is it Rafinha?
Of course it was Rafinha.
Who else would be? Just want to fucking check before you go and tell me Stuart Dallas played there.
No, it was definitely Rafinha who played there. Do you want me to give my rating now, or do you want to say anything more before I do?
No, go for it, mate.
But Rafinha was back to his best. He had a very good performance, got an assist with a perfectly weighted pass for Jack Harrison's 3rd goal. I'm such a big fan of that pass. It was just inch perfect. All Harrison had to do was finish it. And I'm not saying that was an easy thing to do because it was a hard finish for Harrison, but he still finished it perfectly, and it was a lovely pass. He was easily the most creative player for us. Besides the assist, he had 1 full expected assists by himself.
Not being funny, you can have that alone for the one that Dan James fucking twatted straight at the goalkeeper before that.
But yeah, he had 10 shot creating actions on top of that, completed 2 take-ons, had the most progressive carries with 7, and he was just generally making Cresswell's life a living hell, really.
He skinned Diop as well, didn't he? For the one
exactly, and I think he could have had another goal as well, if not for the disallowed goal. Exactly, there's so much he could have ended with a goal and 2 assists. Yesterday, or 3. It was just one of those games where he was at his best, and you love to see it. And it's perfectly timed because people were saying, "Oh, has he had his head turned?" No, he hasn't had his head turned. The past few games, teams have been doubling up on him and making his life more difficult. And even the most creative player will struggle when they have got the time limited on the ball. He was so good. He gets a 9 from me.
Right. Okay. Mike, what have you gone?
I've gone A. I thought it was all right. Yeah, not really much to say. He was pretty decent.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think he was. Look, I don't think his head was turned, but I do think the last few games he's not been quite as the same Rafinha as he was earlier in the season. And like you just said, Martin, perhaps because people are doubling up on him now. But looked far better yesterday. I've gone the same as Mike. I've gone an 8. I thought he was brilliant. And with the assist that he actually gets, not the one that's disallowed or anything, but without bringing someone we don't want to bring up, but Eric Cantona, the swag, the way he passes the ball and just fucking stops and goes, yeah, I passed that. Like, when people say don't admire the pass, as in like you pass and move like a Dallas. Dallas would never pass the ball and stand there and go, that was me, that. Rafinha just stands there. He fucking knows. He's like, that's good, isn't that? I'm going to watch this. And there we go. There's my so yeah, I don't think we could have 11 people like him. I think you only need one in a team, and thankfully we've got him, and he does enough of that for all of them. But yeah, much improved performance. Great to see him back to his best, skinning people. We will move into the middle. I'm gonna go with. I'll start with Adam Forshaw. What did we make of Forshaw? We'll go Mike first.
Yeah, I thought he was really good. His tackling, passing, controlled it until he went off, which was unfortunate. Obviously, I've just given him a 7 because he only played 22 minutes.
Logan, can you? Oh right, there we go. That's what I was going to ask. He sent a 9 in, but we just asked about Forshaw. Forshaw 9. He was on for 20 minutes, but no, he's explained. 7.5. Martin, are you going to bump him up beyond a 7 just based on the fact he got the assist?
No, I don't think I'll bump him past 7. He wasn't on the pitch for very long. He was going on the ball when he was on the pitch. He did all the usual Forshaw things, not giving the ball away, keeping it tight, keeping things moving. And I'm glad that apparently it's not a bad injury. He put on his Insta saying that he's fighting to be back for the weekend. But I don't expect them to risk him against Newcastle. Yeah. I'd expect them to let him rest, and then he can have a nice international break where he can just train and get back to full fitness. We don't want to break him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a 7 for me as well.
Yeah, I'm same as I went with Firpo, just based on the fact they only played 20 odd minutes, 23 as Mike so insists on saying. I've gone 6.5. Absolutely fine. Obviously got the assist for the first goal, but just wasn't on the pitch long enough, and it's great news to hear that he's going to be hopefully back in time for next week, but if not next week, the week after, as long as it's not a long-term thing and he hasn't done any damage. Every time he goes down, we do really worry now, and like Chris has just said, we'll see some more of Lewis Bate if he does get a rest. So judging on, and obviously we will get to the substitute shortly, judging on what we've seen from Lewis Bate so far in the small number of minutes he's had, that won't be a bad thing at all. We'll move across and we'll go to Matthias 𝐾𝐿. What did we make of 𝐾𝐿 yesterday, Mike?
I thought he was probably one of the better players on the pitch, if not the best player. I give him a 9. His closing down, his pressing was just incredible. He didn't give Rice much of a chance. We all know how good Rice is.
Yeah. Fair enough. I mean, I'm not going to lie, I wasn't expecting 9. But Martin?
I wouldn't go as high as what Mike has done. He had a good game. He, like Mike said about his pressing, he was pressing everything that moved. Surprisingly, he didn't press the most on the field. It was actually Lanzini who pressed the most, which surprised me when I was looking at the stats there. But yeah, he had 35 pressures in the game, and he had 1 tackle, 3 interceptions. He was making a lot of good runs into areas, and he was pretty integral to a lot of our build-up play around the box. And I just love when he's on that sort of performance. And he, like Chris said, he definitely deserved a goal. And it was so unfortunate that goal, because that was a lovely finish. That finish was harder than it looked to be. And
I heard he's got a problem with Rodrigo, and he was actually aiming for Rodrigo.
I wish that was the case. No, I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't. Yeah, Click. I love the guy. He's one of my favourite current Leeds players of this Bielsa era. Just the way that he's fought back from going out on loan to being the 5th choice player, probably was going to end up getting loaned or sold. Then Ronaldo Vieira gets sold, and he's back in there. That's just, I love the guy. Great game. So he got an 8 from me.
Right, fair enough. No, I went 7.5. I thought he was good. Like you and Chris both said, really, really unfortunate not to have that goal. Did deserve it. And like I said before, I think 4-2 would have been a much fairer reflection. I don't think 3-2 was enough. I think we deserved more goals, and it would have been nice to see Click get his. It is overdue, especially after all of the shit last month that we got. And nice to see him back being his funny self on social media as well. Saw the post today. That I ever remember anyone really spreading any rumours about Click leaving in January, but making sure we understand he's not going anywhere. Go on then. Let's move over to the left wing. And is this where the 10s come out?
We'll find out shortly.
Right. Okay, Mike. What have you given Jack Harrison?
I've given him a 9.5.
Right. You
Could
give
give him a 10.
A 10.
Yeah, I'll give him a 10 then.
All right. Okay. You tease.
If he didn't score those first 2 goals, that 3rd goal he wouldn't have scored. We all know that he's a confidence player, and he feeds off it, and that's been the case the last few seasons. And I just thought he was incredible on the left. His pressing, his closing down, his finishing. Even the first 2 goals were decent finishes. Obviously, the second one was
the second, maybe.
Yeah, the first one definitely.
Top, isn't it?
Overall, I thought he was really, really good. One of his better performances for us.
Martin, is this where your 10 comes out?
You'd be right, Phil. Definitely a 10 for Jackie Haradonna. He had such a tremendous game, and I'm so happy for it. And he's been so inconsistent at times, and I'm hoping this can really kick him on and to get him back to the Harrison that was there most of last season. Like Mike said, he's a confidence player, and that 3rd finish doesn't happen without the first 2 goals. It was a lovely finish. Any one of our players would have been proud of that finish. It was first time, a lot harder than what it looked to be, and just think the keeper just left him stranded. I'm a big lover of a dinked finish. I think most people are, because they're just beautiful. It's just something that Messi does all the time, and we all know how much I love Messi, and Phil does too. And
I've never mentioned it. I don't think.
Have you not? No, I think you remember
saying.
Did you?
Never said this, have I?
Never once before. I had a suspicion you may have been a Messi fan, but I didn't know about that until very much now. I haven't heard it 20 times.
I mean, Mike's not privy to this joke, but me and Martin obviously worked together at the time, and we used to sit next to each other every day at work. And I was, from the day I booked it, I was in his ear like this, but I'm going. And when I got back, I showed him the same fucking video of Messi walking around with a Ballon d'Or in his hand, like years until we got made redundant. Basically, every day, just mine. Look at this. So that's me and the Messi thing. But Paul, mate. That was your level of finishing, bud. You would know that's a Paul Wilson finish. I can tell you honestly. If you want to see someone do that week in, week out, watch Paul Wilson play football. Unbelievable. Jack Harrison. The missus has come to fucking bury me, hasn't she? Piss off. Anyway, back to the point at hand. I'd give him a 9, just simply because I'm mean. But yeah, no, I was very impressed. Generally speaking, at the back, good. Going forward, good. Fuck it, I'll go 10. Why not?
Hey.
I can't find anything to pick at, so I may as well just give him a 10. I gave Bamford a 10, I think, last year for his hat trick. It's only the 5th hat trick under Marcelo Bielsa's tutelage as a manager ever. Or the 5th player anyway to score a hat trick under him. Bamford being the 4th. So yeah, for me, Harrison, obviously, I dug him out a couple of times in the last few weeks for the way that he's just seemed to not be himself. But as soon as we had that first goal seemed like Martin said, like back to the Jack Harrison of the last 2 seasons. The first season under Bielsa in the Championship, we weren't really sure, but then for promotion season and the first season in the Premier League, worth every penny. And then obviously it's not been the best start, but it hasn't been the best start for us as a club or a team this season. And now we've got players like Ayling, Dallas, Rafinha, Harrison, Click. That we've got a big core of that squad that wasn't in form at the start of the season that seems to be hitting form at the same time now. And I think that obviously coincides with us starting to feel more safe and secure in our position in this league, and that we're not going to have to worry about the relegation battle as such. I don't want to dwell on it too much longer because obviously we could sit here and talk about all 3 of those goals all day, but yeah, I really can't find anything to fault him on, so he can have a 10. And like Paul's just said, other people can definitely look at the attitude. We've never once on this channel, we may have had a pop at the first touch, suddenly abandoning him at times, and the passing, but the pressing, and the same as Dallas for me, you will never see Jack Harrison stop pressing. And obviously we're going to move on to someone else who's notorious for his press and got one of my favourite yellow cards of the season yesterday for being incredibly late on Fabianski, but I liked it. I think one of the first comments we got, I'll scroll all the way back up, when we started the show, was someone saying some people have been getting into Dan James. And look, I had a bit of a pop earlier at that finish just before half time. Don't get me wrong. We said before on the big match preview, Dan James isn't a striker. I don't want to see him played as a centre forward, but let's be honest, he's a winger and he's being played out of position. And he's doing the best he can in that position. So I think 9. I won't be going anywhere near a 9, but look, you can't fault the guy for effort. And like Patrick said there, the relentless pressing, it's just, that's the same week in, week out. What did you make of him, Mike?
His pressing and running was really good. It's just his finishing, the end product just isn't there at the moment. I did give him a low 7.
Yeah.
I think it was, especially at the front half, he wasn't the best. He's probably one of the worst players, in my opinion. Obviously, his pressing was really good, but overall, I didn't think he was that great.
Yeah. No, I can understand, mate. Martin, what did you go with?
Well, I was umming and ahhing about James's performance a lot because I was furious when he missed that one-on-one. He didn't make the keeper work at all with it. He just went straight into the keeper's palms. I could see what he was trying to go for, trying to curl it, but
yeah,
there's no technique behind it. But even without that bad finish, his passing was poor, like very poor. Even some of the passes that he completed weren't good passes. They were overhit, and so at times they caused us to miss out on good chances because the pass was overhit. And it's such a frustrating performance in possession, but his performance out of possession was phenomenal. He never stopped running from start to finish. He was everywhere. Just the pace that lad has got, just like you said, when he chased down Fabianski and got that yellow card, he must have been a good 30 yards away from him when Fabianski first got that ball, and then the second he was there.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. If you are going to press anybody, a 36-year-old goalkeeper is the one you want to be chasing down. But we could still have it. My missus, obviously, there has found someone that can take the 𝐼𝐈𝐓𝐇 mantle in a bargain booze kind of way. Doesn't quite do the same job, but keeps her happy all the same. That's nice. I'm not sure if we're in the presence of greatness here, and I'm not sure whether the ratings reflect that we would agree with this. But Michael Brown, did you used to play for Leeds? It's my only question. Chris has gone for an 8, and then obviously we'll move on to the substitutes. I haven't missed anyone off there, have I, Mike? Just making sure.
I don't think so. But I didn't actually give my rating for James.
Go on then. Go on.
You probably might be disappointed. It's a 6.5 from me.
I just realised I haven't given my own fucking rating. Who lets me present this shit? I've gone the same as Martin. I went 6.5. Again, 6 is average for me, so that's above average. I just decision making still sometimes here or there, and obviously that finish. My actual words to my brother at the time were, "I finished that." And I don't want to be put on the spot and sent to fucking the London Stadium next season to prove it, but fuck it, send me. Come on, Angus.
Even one after that, he could have and should have probably scored it as well.
Mate, it's one of them where you got to score. You just got to do better than that. If he tries to put it in a corner and it comes off a post, maybe we're all sat here like, oh, that's unlucky. But if you're just twatting it straight into the keeper's hand, Fabianski doesn't have to move. He just stands there and doesn't move. Just, oh yeah, cheers. It's a pass to the keeper. So it wasn't great. But yeah, like Chris says, Robbie Keane, I'll take his word for it over my own as well. I agree. Looking at the substitutions then. So obviously the first one that was done was Lewis Bate. A lot of people will want to talk about the fact that he was subbed off again later on in the game, which, look, I think we've said ourselves on this channel when we talk about Joffy and the minutes with 𝐾𝐿. Joffy's had to go through this process of being eased in, and obviously we're all itching to see 𝐾𝐿 brought on a lot sooner than he is in most games. But I think it's one of them where you just got to trust that Bielsa knows what he's doing with the kids, man. He's obviously given a lot of them debuts this season in comparison to every other manager in the division that hasn't. I must admit, when his number went up on the screen and he was getting bought off again, I was disappointed for the kid. I can see why he was upset, and the numbers that are coming in here are going to reflect that. I don't think anyone's going to go below a 7 for Lewis Bate. I'll be really surprised if they do. And to be honest, I would expect higher. Generally speaking, to say the person who replaced was Adam Forshaw in that midfield, and the way that we've all raved about Forshaw since his return to fitness and getting back up to speed in the team and dictating play and all these things of tenacity. And for me, he was every bit as good as Adam Forshaw. And at the age he is, he's got such a bright future ahead of him. And I kind of just hope that he would understand, and I'm sure he does. And I'm sure Bielsa will have made it clear to him. Well, actually, I'm not that sure. I'd like to think that Bielsa's made it clear to him that, look, I am just trying to ease you in. I'm managing your minutes, and I believe this is what's best for you. I don't think he was hooked because anyone felt that he wasn't doing a good job. Martin, I'll come to you first with this one, mate. What did you make of Bate, and what did you make of the substitution itself?
Bate, he had a good game. Like you say, he came on to replace Forshaw, who's been a very important player for us recently. And we didn't seem to change much in the way we approached it. He filled in for Forshaw admirably. He was reliable in possession. He didn't give the ball away often. He pulled off a tremendous nutmeg, if anyone hasn't seen it. It was shared by the club's social media earlier. That was lovely. Love a good megs. For me, it's a tough one about him being subbed off, because at the time I was saying it should have been James that was taken off. Yeah. But now thinking back to it, I can understand why he was taken off over over James because
experience.
Not just that, the way that James was pressing from the front, there's no way that Rodrigo would have replicated that, and that wouldn't.
Do you think Rodrigo replicated Bate's press though?
No, but the pressing was more important from James's side than it was from Bate. Bate's performance wasn't as much about pressing as it was. 𝐾𝐿 was the one pressing more from midfield, and it was James from the front line. But Bate, he did well when he was on the pitch. I was disappointed that he was taken off at the time, but I can understand the decision. And I think Rodrigo was always going to get minutes. And
it does seem like a pre-planned one.
Yeah, it's definitely a pre-planned. Because what it was at the 60-minute mark, wasn't it? That is the standard Bielsa. This player needs some time, some minutes to get back fit, and he was always going to come on, I think. And so Bate was just unlucky to be picked, to be taken off. I don't think he did anything wrong. And you saw Bielsa put a little hand on his shoulder as he was coming off. That isn't something that he often does.
No, the very rarely spotted touch of Marcelo Bielsa.
Exactly.
We're all extremely jealous.
Exactly. When anyone is touched by the hand of Bielsa, you treasure it, as I'm sure Patrick Bamford does from that time in training. It's just he was a great player, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do. And the bargain that we've got for him is just ridiculous. What was it? Was it $1.5 million he cost from Chelsea? I think.
Yeah,
that's just an absolute bargain because he's looking like he should be a very good player for us, and a perfect player to use in Forshaw's role, and I expect him probably to play next weekend in place of Forshaw. So we'll see more minutes from him soon anyway. So I'm sure he won't take it too hard thinking back to it, but at the time, obviously, he was a little bit frustrated. He gets a 7.5 from me.
Yeah, Mike, what did you go, mate, numbers wise?
I've given him an 8. I just thought he kept it simple, closing down, tackling, passing. I just thought he was really good.
Yeah, no, I agree, mate. And what did you make of him getting bought off at the timing? And
at the time, I was frustrated. We only played rough about 44, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But in the long run, it probably was the right decision to do.
Yeah.
But we don't know what's going on in his mind. Obviously, you could tell he was frustrated at being brought off.
I was just about to flash that up myself. I'm sorry, I got really distracted then. It's a shame you're not the one and only Michael Brown. It's a bit weird that that's what you want to do to him, but you know, he's around. We'll go to 𝐘𝐿 and some people say 𝐘𝐿. Fuck no, it's just the Norwegian kid. Again, another solid performance. Mike, I'll come to you first this time. What did you make of him?
He was quite good. He kept the left side quiet from what I thought. I gave him a 7. Nothing major stood out to me.
Yeah. Martin, what have you gone for? What do you say his name, mate? Fucking, I can't even get out.
𝐘𝐿. I think that's how it's pronounced. So one of the
I've seen everyone say you don't pronounce the H, and it's just 𝐘𝐿.
𝐘𝐿, something like that. We're always
I would pronounce both. I just go 𝐘𝐿.
But yeah, pronunciation of his name aside, he did well, and he did well when he came on. Same as when he played in the cup. He had good pass completion, 79%, which was the 4th highest. So he kept things tight. And there's one particular pass which I think so quickly has become his trademark: the driven pass, line breaking straight to the midfield area. It's a lovely ball that he plays at. I love seeing it. And I enjoyed his performance, especially aerially. It was
very fucking confusing.
𝐘𝐿. Yeah. It's fine. That had to be brought up, to be honest.
Yeah, 𝐼𝐈𝐓𝐇.
𝐼𝐈𝐓𝐇. Yeah, he won 100% of his aerial duels. He's a big lad, and obviously he was at left back area, so he won't be up against anyone who was majorly tall. But he still did good from what I thought.
He's up against the person that won the fucking header in the first place, isn't he? Well, he could teach Stuart Dallas a few things.
It's not like Dallas is like a 6'5" mountain man, Phil. He's 0.5. I think it's Dallas is 1.8 meters and Bowen is 1.75. So it's marginally.
What's that in English? Like feet and inches? I don't care. Fuck it. Let's move on to Rodrigo. I can't be asked.
Helde got a 7 from me, by the way.
So we've got a Norwegian that says we can call him Gelder. You see, you not. Look, we're leaving it there because I can't be asked. Too hard. I've given him a 7. Fuck him. Rodrigo. Yeah, I mean, people might end up being harsh because Rodrigo obviously is in the wrong place at the wrong time, and we could have won 4-2, but instead it's 3-2 because he just spazzes in front of 𝐾𝐿. So, Mike, what do you make of Rodrigo when he was on? I can't really remember him doing much.
He's done, from what I remember, a couple of passes, closed down once, from what I remember. Obviously, that goal, there's nothing he could do. He was literally running, trying to get out of the way, and it just hit him.
Just folds up into like a little.
You can see what he's trying to do, but it's not his fault.
That's the thing. I can't see what he's trying to. Just what is it? Just fucking move. It's not hard, but apparently it was. 3.5 seems mean. I like that you put a 0.5 in it though. So
I gave him a 6.
You gave him a 6. Yeah, I did too. Martin, what did you go?
He gets a 6.5 from me. The thing, I'm not even that bothered about the got disallowed goal. He did try a little bit to get out of the way, but he was trying to get into the back post for a cross. He was expecting Rafa to lay it over to the side, but he didn't, and it went back to play. But I'm not that bothered about that. It's just unlucky. It's all it is. It's wrong place, wrong time. I'm fine with that. But what I'm not fine with is just him dallying on the ball too long. That's one of the things that we saw minutes after he came on. He was running with the ball and then he just held on to it for well too long. He attempted 4 take-ons. You want to guess how many of those take-ons he won?
None.
Yeah, none. 0% take-on success. He did do well with his passing. He only misplaced 1 pass. I think it's 15 passes attempted, 14 completed, which I believe was more than Dan James completed. and Dan James was on the pitch for the full game. So yeah, that says more about Dan James than it does about Rodrigo, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rodrigo didn't do well.
On the bright side, it's one of the 3 names that got bunched in together. We heard it was going to be Struijk, Bamford, and Rodrigo that were options for this game. So if they were all options, Bamford obviously wasn't even on the bench. You've got to start thinking now Bamford's going to be on the bench next week, or at least involved.
You'd expect him to be back. I'm not sure if the reason why Bamford was kept out was because his missus is quite heavily pregnant. Yeah. So that could be a reason, but we don't know.
Michaela, if you're watching and you haven't already, drop now. Give him some sleep before the weekend. I know it doesn't work like that, love, but if you can make sure he's well rested and don't be expecting him to be doing none of these night feeds, we need the boy. It'd be good to have him back. So yeah, I think we'll probably call it a night there, guys. Thank you for everyone that's joined us tonight in the comments and getting your ratings in, and obviously thank you very much to our useless southerner below, Mike, and the one and honourable Reverend Martin of Statsville. It's been a very lovely evening, and it's been a great weekend. And 3 points, guys. I can't wait to be back here for the big match preview for Newcastle at the weekend. Obviously, there's plenty to keep your eye on the channel for. In the meantime, there's going to be a lot coming out during the week. If we do have any crazy moves in the January transfer window, we will bring you news of it as soon as we know. But otherwise, keep an eye out for everything Scott's doing as usual. Oscar and his opposition previews. Like and subscribe and all that nonsense. Smash the like, as Oscar would say. And yeah, generally speaking, guys, thank you very much. Martin, I bid you adieu. And Mike, I bid you adieu as well.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, Pete.